Zico, born as Arthur Antunes Coimbra on March 3, 1953, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, is one of the most influential figures in the history of Brazilian football. Known for his exceptional talent, Zico played the game with a style that combined creativity, technical brilliance, and precision. His career spanned several decades, and his legacy extends beyond just his playing days, as he became an iconic figure not only in Brazilian football, but on the global stage. As a forward, Zico's vision on the field, along with his ability to score goals, made him an invaluable asset to every team he played for, earning him the nickname the White Pele in his homeland. Zico's journey into football began at a young age. Growing up in the working-class neighborhood of Rio de Janeiro, he was introduced to football by his father, who had a strong passion for the sport. Zico's first football club was Flamengo, a team that would come to define his career. He joined the youth team at Flamengo at just 12 years old, and his potential was quickly recognized. His prodigious talent and natural flair for the game allowed him to rise rapidly through the ranks of the club, and by the time he was 16, he was already playing in the senior team. Flamengo, at the time, was a club in the midst of a football renaissance. They had already achieved some domestic success and were aiming for greater recognition on the international stage. Zico's debut with Flamengo came in 1971, and he wasted no time in making an impact. His early performances with the club were nothing short of spectacular, earning him a reputation as one of the brightest young talents in Brazilian football. Over the next few years, he became a central figure in the Flamengo lineup, gradually solidifying his place as one of the top players in the country. One of Zico's most memorable periods with Flamengo came in the late 1970s and early 1980s. During this time, the club dominated Brazilian football, winning several championships and establishing itself as one of the top teams in South America. Zico's ability to score goals, his deadly free kicks, and his technical skill with the ball made him the cornerstone of Flamengo's success. The team, led by Zico, claimed the Campeonato Carioca, the state championship of Rio de Janeiro, multiple times and reached international prominence by winning the prestigious Copa Libertadores in 1981. This victory helped Flamengo gain recognition on the global stage and cemented Zico's place as one of the best players in the world. Zico's success with Flamengo was not just limited to the club level. He also enjoyed a highly successful international career with the Brazilian national team. He made his debut for the national team in 1976, and by the early 1980s, he had established himself as a key figure in Brazil's international lineup. Zico's first major tournament with Brazil came in 1978, when he participated in the FIFA World Cup in Argentina. Although Brazil did not win the tournament, Zico's performances were still impressive, and he gained significant recognition for his performances. The 1982 World Cup, held in Spain, would go down as one of Zico's most iconic moments. Brazil entered the tournament as one of the favorites, with a team filled with stars like Socrates, Falcao, and Eder, and Zico being one of the main focal points. Brazil played some of the most attractive football in the history of the World Cup, with Zico's playmaking ability and vision being central to the team's success. However, despite Brazil's brilliance on the field, the team's World Cup campaign ended in heartbreak. In the semifinals, Brazil lost to Italy in a match that is still remembered as one of the most dramatic in World Cup history. Zico, who had been a key player throughout the tournament, was devastated by the loss. Nevertheless, his contributions to the team and his performances during the tournament solidified his place as one of the best players in the world. Following the 1982 World Cup, Zico continued to dominate in Brazil. Flamengo, under his leadership, won more titles, and Zico became the undisputed leader of the team. However, by the mid-1980s, Zico began to face challenges in his career. Injuries started to take their toll on his body, and he had to deal with periods of rehabilitation and recovery. Despite these setbacks, Zico continued to play at a high level, but by the late 1980s, he began to consider playing abroad. In 1983, Zico made the decision to leave Flamengo and pursue an opportunity in Europe. He signed with the Italian club Udinese, where he played from 1983 to 1985. His time in Italy was notable, although it was not as successful as his time in Brazil. While Zico continued to demonstrate his technical brilliance, the physical style of European football was somewhat different from the free-flowing game of Brazil, and Zico found it difficult to fully replicate his previous success. However, his stint in Italy further enhanced his global reputation, and it marked the end of his time playing in Europe when he returned to Brazil in 1985. After returning to Brazil, Zico had a brief stint with the club in the late 1980s before making a major career move to Japan in 1991. Zico's decision to play in Japan was a groundbreaking moment in football history. At the time, Japanese football was still in its early stages of development, and Zico's arrival brought international attention to the J-League. He joined the club Kashima Antlers, where he would spend several seasons, both as a player and later as a coach. Zico's impact on Japanese football cannot be overstated. He helped to elevate the profile of the sport in the country, and his leadership both on and off the field helped to develop the local talent and instill a winning mentality in the league. Zico's time in Japan allowed him to extend his playing career into his late 30s, and he continued to perform at a high level even as the years passed. In addition to his club success, Zico remained a key figure in the Brazilian national team during the late 1980s and early 1990s. He played in the 1986 World Cup, where Brazil reached the quarterfinals, but he was unable to achieve the same level of success that he had hoped for. Despite his age, Zico's experience and leadership were invaluable to Brazil, and he continued to be a major influence on the pitch. Zico retired from playing professional football in the mid-1990s and transitioned into a successful career as a coach. His coaching career took him to many clubs around the world, including a notable tenure with the national team of Japan. Zico's coaching style, much like his playing career, was characterized by a focus on technique, creativity, and fluid attacking play. He helped to develop the next generation of football talent in Japan, and his influence on the country's football culture remained profound. As a coach, Zico had a successful stint at various clubs and international teams. One of the highlights of his coaching career came in 2002 when he managed the Turkish club Fenerbahçe. Under his guidance, the team achieved significant success, and Zico became a fan favorite for his commitment and passion for the club. His time with Fenerbahçe solidified his reputation as a coach who could take a team to the highest levels of achievement, and his tenure in Turkey was one of the most successful in the club's history. Zico's influence in the football world continues to this day, both as a player and a coach. His legacy as one of the greatest Brazilian players is secure, and he is often mentioned in the same breath as other footballing legends such as Pelé, Romario, and Ronaldo. His vision, creativity, and goal-scoring ability remain benchmarks for future generations of players to aspire to. Zico's impact on Brazilian football is immeasurable, and his contributions to the game extend far beyond his playing days. Whether as a player or a coach, Zico's name is synonymous with the artistry and flair that Brazilian football is known for. Even years after his retirement, Zico remains a symbol of excellence in the sport, and his influence is still felt across the world. In his post-retirement years, Zico has remained involved in various charitable endeavors, using his platform to give back to the community. He has also continued to work in football-related activities, from promoting youth development to engaging in international football initiatives. His passion for the game, combined with his deep understanding of its intricacies, ensures that Zico's influence will continue to be felt for many years to come. Zico's journey from the streets of Rio de Janeiro to becoming one of the greatest footballers in history is a testament to his talent, dedication, and love for the sport. Through his brilliant career as a player, coach, and ambassador of the game, Zico has left an indelible mark on football, and his legacy will continue to inspire players and fans for generations to come. Zico's influence on football also extends beyond his personal achievements. He was a key figure in the evolution of Brazilian football's playing style. In the 1980s, Brazilian football was characterized by a mix of flair, technical skill, and creative freedom, and Zico was a personification of this style. While other nations often relied on rigid tactical formations and strict systems, Brazil's emphasis on skill and improvisation made them stand out, and Zico, with his refined ball control, precise passing, and vision, became the ideal player in this philosophy. Zico's contributions were not only about creating highlight reel moments, but also about setting standards for others to follow. His work ethic on and off the field served as a model for countless future footballers, both in Brazil and around the world. He was a player who always sought to elevate those around him, ensuring that his teammates were involved and his teams played attractive, entertaining football. This approach was especially evident in his leadership at Flamengo, where he became not only the team's technical leader, but also a moral figure who set high standards for his fellow players. After retiring as a player, Zico's transition to coaching was a natural one. His vast knowledge of the game, coupled with his understanding of what it took to succeed at the highest levels, made him a respected coach both in Brazil and internationally. His coaching philosophy was rooted in the belief that football should be played with a sense of joy and freedom, something he had learned during his playing days. Zico instilled this mindset in the players he coached, encouraging them to take risks, express themselves, and enjoy the game just as he had. Despite facing some challenges in his coaching career, Zico's ability to adapt to different footballing cultures and bring success to the teams he managed is a testament to his versatility and leadership. In addition to his time in Japan and Turkey, Zico also had stints coaching in Brazil and other countries. He became well known for being a coach who was able to elevate the quality of the teams he worked with, even when those teams were not necessarily considered the strongest in their respective leagues. Zico's work in Japan is particularly noteworthy. His time in the J-League marked a defining moment in the country's football history. When he first arrived in Japan, football in the country was still developing, and Zico was one of the first foreign coaches to bring global attention to the sport there. His influence helped to raise the profile of the J-League, and his work with the Kashima Antlers was instrumental in developing the league's early identity. Zico played a critical role in introducing modern football philosophies to Japan and helping to grow the game there in ways that would leave a lasting legacy. As a coach, Zico was also a proponent of youth development. He understood that the future of football was reliant on nurturing young talent and ensuring that the next generation of players had the technical foundation to succeed. This focus on youth development became a core principle of his coaching philosophy. He not only worked to improve the skills of the players under his charge, but also took a keen interest in developing the football infrastructure in the countries and clubs where he coached. Throughout his career, Zico maintained strong connections with other football legends, both from his time as a player and his role as a coach. His relationships with figures such as Socrates, Falcao, and Careca, with whom he played in Brazil's golden era of the 1980s, continued into his coaching career. These connections allowed him to engage in a broader footballing network and continue to learn from the experiences of others in the footballing community. Zico also developed close bonds with coaches and players from other parts of the world, gaining a global perspective on the sport. Despite his high profile, Zico remained deeply humble about his contributions to the game. He often downplayed his individual accomplishments, instead focusing on the collective efforts of the teams he was a part of. His leadership was defined by his actions on the pitch and his ability to elevate the quality of play of those around him. Zico's reputation for being a team player and a unifying force has remained one of his defining characteristics throughout his career. Throughout his life, Zico has been an advocate for football's potential to bring people together, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers. His travels across the globe, from Brazil to Italy, Japan, and Turkey, have reinforced his belief in football's universal language. He has consistently emphasized the importance of football as a force for social change and unity, using his platform to promote positive values and build bridges between communities. Zico's impact on the footballing world goes beyond his time as a player and coach. He is also a philanthropist and has been involved in several charitable activities throughout his life. His charity work is focused on providing opportunities for underprivileged children and helping to improve the lives of those who face challenges in society. Through his various initiatives, Zico has demonstrated a strong commitment to giving back to the community and making a positive difference in the world. One of the key lessons Zico imparted to the world was the importance of passion and commitment to the game. He often spoke about the love he had for football and how it was this passion that drove him to continue performing at the highest level for as long as he did. His enduring dedication to the sport served as an example for aspiring players, illustrating that success is not just about raw talent, but also about the hard work and passion that are necessary to reach the pinnacle of the sport.